Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, June 8th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next few days, the main threats to the Great Basin will be strong winds and low relative humidity today through Friday, with the strongest winds Thursday and Friday, especially over the southern portion and eastern portion of Nevada into western Utah, where gusts will exceed 40 or 50 miles per hour at times, with relative humidity below 10 to 15%. Winds today will start increasing along the Sierra front and eventually spread eastward as we move through this week. These fuels in these areas are still not critical but are rapidly drying, especially in the grasses across the western and central portion of the Great Basin. If we look at the recent weather, over the last 24 hours, we've seen scattered showers and thunderstorms over the northern half of the Great Basin. Most areas saw less than 1/10 of an inch of rainfall, but you can see some heavier areas that received anywhere from 1/4 to up towards 1/3 of an inch of rainfall over parts of far northern Nevada and especially into Idaho and western Wyoming. Over the last 2 weeks, all of the precipitation has been focused over the northern 2/3 of the Great Basin, with very dry conditions over southern Nevada into the Arizona Strip and southern Utah. And even what we have seen over the northern 2/3 of the area has been below normal for the last 2 weeks. If we look at current fuel conditions, ERCs are generally trending up with the very hot and dry conditions we've seen recently and have now exceeded the 50th or even 70th percentile in some areas of far southern Nevada into southern Utah and the Arizona Strip. We are even seeing some spotty areas up further north where ERCs are increasing above the 50th percentile. However, again, ERCs are not truly representative of the fuel conditions, as the cheatgrass that has been fairly abundant over the northern half of the Great Basin has cured out in most of the lower elevations. If we look at the live fuel moistures, the trend has been downward. However, still fuel moistures are near to above normal. Now looking at the water vapor satellite loop from this morning, this strong high pressure that has been dominating the Great Basin has now been pushed south and eastward as a much stronger trough of low pressure off the west coast approaches. As this trough moves eastward, this will be responsible for our increasing winds from west to east across the basin over the next several days. And this trough will remain in place. It will allow temperatures to decrease as we move into later this week, along with increasing humidity and some showers and thunderstorms eventually. But in the meantime, especially through Friday, we'll see strong winds and very low relative humidity across Nevada into western Utah. If we look at significant fire potential today across the Great Basin, you can see the drying conditions from south to north, with now critically dry fuels over the southern portion of the Great Basin and still somewhat wet fuels over the higher elevations of central Idaho into Wyoming and down into northeast Utah. So therefore today we will have low to moderate fire potential really across the southern half of the Great Basin. Looking at the weather conditions today, we'll still have some thunderstorms, but less coverage than probably what we saw yesterday, and any thunderstorms will occur over eastern Nevada, into parts of Utah, and into the central Idaho mountains and Wyoming, and these will produce light amounts of rainfall as well. Wind gusts today will be increasing starting across the Sierra front into western Nevada. Gusts will be stronger than what we saw yesterday, with generally gusts between 25 and 35 miles per hour, with low relative humidity in the single digits to low teens. As you move further east, still light winds will occur over the eastern side of the Great Basin. As we move into Thursday, this trough of low pressure now moves into the Pacific Northwest, and this will allow those stronger winds to increase and spread eastward across the basin, along with slightly cooling temperatures from north to south. We will still continue to see low to moderate fire potential across the Great Basin. However, if we do see fire starts over southern areas, these might spread rapidly with the stronger winds that we are expecting on Thursday. Looking at the relative humidity, on Thursday you can see single digits across much of Nevada into Utah, and these will correspond with the stronger winds. Also, seeing gusts generally in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range over western areas, and we may even see some stronger gusts above 40 or 45 miles per hour over southern Nevada into southwest Utah. And again, this is where the fuels are critically dry and where we will also see those strong winds and low RH. On Friday, this trough moves slightly further eastward, again keeping those strong winds across the basin, with continued low to moderate fire potential, with again this biggest potential with the strongest winds over southern and eastern Nevada into southwest Utah, where the fuels are critically dry. On Friday, relative humidity does come up somewhat, but will still remain in the low teens really across all of Nevada into western Utah, again corresponding to those stronger winds. We may even see some wind gusts above 40 or 50 miles per hour in some of these areas, possibly along the Sierra front and into southern and eastern Nevada into southwest Utah. So again, these strong winds and very dry conditions will continue across the Great Basin for the next several days. Any precipitation we see from thunderstorms will likely be spotty and on the lighter side. Now looking at the weather pattern as we move into the weekend, this trough moves into the northwest, and this will bring cooling temperatures and showers and thunderstorms to Idaho and to parts of northern Nevada and northern Utah, with still dry and windy conditions over southern Nevada into southwest Utah. We will continue to see low to moderate fire potential over the southern portion of the Great Basin, but we will see those fuels moderate slightly over the northern and eastern side of the basin, at least temporarily. By Sunday, this trough moves across the central portion of the basin, keeping showers and thunderstorms across the northern areas into Idaho and northern Utah, and still dry conditions over southern areas. By Monday, this trough moves well to the east, leaving a return of dry weather across most areas with somewhat moderate westerly wind flow. Again, we'll start to see those fuel moistures increase and a return to low to moderate fire potential across most of the Great Basin, with the exception of the far northern and eastern higher elevation areas. By Tuesday, another deep trough develops off the west coast, and this will bring a return to dry and windy conditions to the Great Basin. Looking at the precipitation over the next 7 days, which includes what we'll see over the next few days with our showers and thunderstorms, and also what we'll see over the weekend, and you can see most northern and eastern areas of the basin will see some rainfall from thunderstorms. However, still very dry conditions will continue along the Sierra Front into western Nevada, and also very only light precipitation in the far south. Looking at the overall extended outlook, with these deeper troughs moving through, we'll see cooler temperatures, so maybe near to below normal, and also wetter conditions over parts of Idaho into the far north. But with these deeper troughs, we'll also see the dry and windy conditions continue over the southern half of the Great Basin. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.